Now, our next task here is something that will make a lot more sense as we get a little later on in this learning path, and that has to do with deploying roles on remote servers. Honestly, Microsoft is kind of beating a bit to death this add and remove Windows feature functionality and commands that exist in PowerShell. But I think what they're trying to do is help you understand that in order to really to work within Windows these days, dealing with remote servers is something that you're going to need to do. And while we're talking about roles, role services, and features, you should be aware of the fact that you can use these commands that we've used thus far with additional parameter sets to go about installing and removing Windows features off of remote machines. Now, much of what I'm about to show you works far better in an Active Directory environment where you have machines that are already trusted to each other as part of an Active Directory domain. But the main thing I want to show you is that if you indeed need to go about installing a new Windows feature, you can do so here with, again, the install Windows feature commandlet, and then whatever Windows role service, or feature that you're interested in installing. And then you can use the computer name parameter, and then you can identify a remote machine that you want to install this role service, or feature onto, like server core 1, for example. Now, we've not yet got to the point where we've added these machines into the domain. And in fact, we haven't even renamed the machines to the names that we intend on them having. But I do want to show you that here, when we're talking about deploying roles on remote servers, this is something that you can do via command line. This is something you can do via PowerShell. It's also something that you can accomplish via the graphical user interface as well. There's one other command here that I want to show you called configure SM remoting, which Jason may actually talk about a little later on when we get into remote management of servers. This configure SM remoting is a tool that is enabled by default, or is a state that is enabled by default. But the command will allow you to either enable or disable remote management on a machine. As you can see here, it already is enabled using Server Manager here. I show you this because if you intend on using the Server Manager tool here, the Server Manager tool will actually allow you, once your machines are all in a domain together, to connect up to those remote machines and to simply add those machines here, to add those servers to your list of managed servers, so that you can then work with the servers and add and remove roles and role services and features from those machines. So again, we're kind of punting here on this topic until we get a little further into the Active Directory and remote management topics. But for now, recognize that you can indeed deploy roles on those remote servers once you have all the appropriate infrastructure in place.